Hey guys, what is up? It is me, Pagey, here once again with another video, and this is going to be the start of the Arrowverse Q&As in regards to them being on when the shows are on. Because I was doing these Q&As in the break, but these is like, it's the same setup basically, but there's going to be an equal amount of questions from all of the TV shows. No TV show is going to get like a priority with 7 questions and then there's 1 question from the other 3. It's, you know, we're going to do 2 from each for this video at least. So this Q&A type of style video will be out weekly at the exact same time I've uploaded this. So it's going to be coming out about, what, maybe 6 hours, 7 hours before Supergirl will air. So that's I think it's right to put it here. I was going to upload it yesterday, but I thought, you know what, I'd upload it on the day that Supergirl comes out because Supergirl kicks off the week for DC TV, so I uploaded like a handful of hours before there. I think it fits well, it gives it enough time for the video to get exposure before I move on to Supergirl stuff. So yeah, expect it the exact same time every single week. In regards to the questions, I did say leave them on the trailer breakdowns for shows, but I'm just going to make it if you literally just leave it a question on the review or the trailer breakdown, it can make the video. I'm just going to go through both of those videos for each show and pick out questions there. I've only picked out 2 questions from each show, might I say, for this video, just to, you know, just as a trial run, just to see how it goes and everyone enjoys it. But yeah, so leave them on either the review or the trailer breakdown for that respective show, and it could make this video. Also, in regards to the type of question, I would prefer if it's about the episode that just aired or the episode coming up in that week. So, for example, this Q&A would be for episode 1 of Supergirl because it came out last week, or for episode 2 because it's the upcoming episode. So, you know, the most recent, the next episode. Leave questions for that if you're confused about anything, or if you want to, you know, you want a question answered about the upcoming episode. Like if there's a villain, like, oh, what's this a villain about? Like what are their powers and stuff like that, and you want me to go more in depth, it can be in this video. Don't leave questions about like, oh, in season 8 of Supergirl, who's the villain? Because it's just a stupid question. So don't try and leave questions for things too far in the future. Just try and keep them like current, like stuff that's on the show at the moment. But yeah, sorry for rambling, I just need to make that straight. But we're going to go 2 questions from Supergirl, 2 questions from Flash, 2 questions from Legends, and 2 questions from Arrow, because that's the way that they air on TV. So I thought I'll do that in the Q&A as well, just list them as they're aired. So the first question comes from Jorgen Fonstad. I'm pretty sure I've pronounced that right. I hope I am, because if I did, I'm impressed with myself. So Jorgen asks, do you think Rain is Supergirl's sister? Why else would Kara's mother be in her nightmares? So obviously right at the end of Supergirl's season 3 episode 1, we saw the same sort of vision that we'd seen towards the beginning of the episode, where with Kara's mother Allura just standing there. When she turned into this like demonic, nightmarish creature. And at first I was like, holy crap, but it's Rain. That is actually what Rain not exactly looks like in the comics, but it's very it's a good representation of Rain from the comics. And I think by the end of the season, you'd think that's what Rain looks like, or, you know, pretty similar to that. In regards to, is Rain Supergirl's sister, I think, because what it looks like it's going to be is that Rain is probably a clone, or has at least Allura's DNA in her. And because what Rain is, she's not like natural. She's like being created by those scientists on Krypton before she was shipped off, like we saw at the end of season 2 of Supergirl. So what I'm assuming happened is that she was partly created, but she needed some Kryptonian DNA through her to make her, I guess, live properly and just be her. So they've put Allura's DNA, and that's why she's having those sort of nightmares about Allura, and then it turns into Rain. So technically she would be sort of Supergirl's sister, like not, you know, like 100% birthright sister, but they'd be related in some way because they would share the same DNA. I'm very interested to see how they develop that throughout the season. I think Rain is easily the best thing that Supergirl has going for it this season, because one of the issues that Supergirl has had recently has been, the villains have just been, like, honestly, they've been crap. They've just been bad. So this Rain looks like it could be a really good story, not necessarily just because it's a good villain, but because she starts off as just like a normal, you know, she seems like a nice person, and then obviously something's going to go bad, and she's going to end up down the road where she becomes Rain. So there's a lot of potential there. Hopefully they nail it. It doesn't have to be perfect, just because if you do have a good enough villain, the story doesn't have to be like amazing for the season to be good, but you know, you'd want it to be at least. Question 2 comes from Jason Barnott, I think, or Barnett, I can't remember how I've written this down, but he goes, simply, where was Miss Martian? And I had a couple of people asking this, and I don't know if they've actually confirmed if she's in this season. I think the actress's name was Sharon Leal or Shannon Leal or something. I don't know if she's been confirmed for this season. Like at the end of last season, she just sort of appeared and helped with the whole issue at hand on Earth, thanks to the Daxamites. So yeah, I don't know what they're doing this season. There is a lot with Martian Manhunter and say his family and like his father and stuff that they're doing this season. But I'm not sure how Miss Martian, plays into it all, if she's going to be in this season at all. We'll have to wait and see. I haven't really heard anything. If you do know anything about Miss Martian in this season, let me know in the comment section down below. Now let's move on to the Flash questions. The first one comes from Stern. He goes, could the symbols that Barry wrote down be connected to the Thinker somehow? He wanted the Flash back, and it must have been for a pretty good reason. So that's actually one of the interesting things about this season, is that the Thinker sort of played into Team Flash bringing Barry out. Like with the Samuroid, obviously he was controlling him. He wanted the proper Flash back, or the Flash space back. And before going into this season, we did know that the Thinker needed the Flash to succeed in his plan. It's not like he had a plan and the Flash is sort of interrupting that plan. The Thinker actually needs the Flash there to do whatever he needs to do. Obviously, we don't know at this point what the hell that is. But obviously, we've only had one episode air. It'd be pretty annoying if they just revealed everything in the first episode. They've got to slowly cook that soup. That's the worst analogy. They've got to slowly cook it. That's the way I'm trying to say. They've just got to slowly introduce different ingredients. Then eventually we'll get towards the end of the season and have that big meal. In regards to connected to the Thinker, there is a thing on the Thinker's face. I'll put it up now. You can sort of see it's like on his cheek somewhere, and it sort of looks like one of Barry's symbols. I was going to do a video on it, but there's literally nothing to go off at the moment. I'd rather wait a couple of episodes before we jump into any theories about what's going on with the Thinker. So that's what I'm going to do. But there is something on his face that does look like one of Barry's symbols, and it could be a connection to that somehow in regards to the Thinker's plan and Barry. But we can't really look at anything too much and look into anything too in depth, because the Thinker was on screen for like 10 seconds, and even before that there wasn't too much to trace back to him. So I think we're just going to have to wait a couple of episodes before, even possibly the first half of the season, before we really get anything too in depth with the Thinker. Question 4 comes from LightThread22356, and they ask, do you think we will see any effects the Speed Force Storm had on anyone this season? Now, that was actually one thing I was sort of like scratching my head. I was like, why didn't we get anything from that in episode 1? Like, there was no explanation of like the damage that break in the Speed Force did to Central City, because that was raining downhill. There was stuff exploding, and there was really no like things saying like, oh, this happened and this caused that. So I'm assuming, I'm hoping, might I say, in episode 2 they might say that the Speed Force Storm did maybe create new metahumans, because we have a new metahuman appearing in season 2, in episode 2, sorry, of season 4, and even like episode 3 as well. So I'm hoping they do some explanation there, because Barry had to go in there to the Speed Force. He was there for 6 months to stop nothing. Really, if you think about it, like there was no ramifications of that Speed Force Storm. So hopefully something happens there. I know Lightthread did write something about Godspeed. I'm trying to avoid talking about Godspeed just because I don't know if they're going to introduce him. I don't know. We might get him, but for now I don't really want to talk about him because that's too far in the future. But the Speed Force Storm should be a current issue that the show faces, and I'm hoping in the next couple of episodes of season 4 they dive into that a bit, and maybe that's the new source for metahumans, because they did say this season there's a new source for the creation of metahumans. So obviously in season 1, and I guess season 2 as well, we had the particle accelerator, and then season 3 last season we had Dr. Alchemy creating metahumans. So hopefully they dive into that in the next couple of episodes. Now, question 5, it's the first question for Legends of Tomorrow. It comes from way too many people, because literally so many, I reckon honestly about half the comment section, no joke, was a question around this issue on my Legends of Tomorrow trailer breakdown. So there's too many people. Now I'm going to put spoiler alert on the screen right now if you don't want to know anything, because it does contain spoilers. When the spoiler alert thing goes away down the bottom of the screen, I'm not going to be talking about it anymore, but when it's up, I'm going to be talking about it. So it's going up right now. Okay. People wanted me to talk about Victor Garber and the news around him. So if you did not know, and you're still watching, even though I put the spoiler alert thing, Victor Garber is leaving Legends of Tomorrow. He's scheduled a Broadway performance or a Broadway gig or some sort of theatre gig starting in January. So they would still be filming the season. I don't think Legends would end till maybe early April at the earliest, or maybe the latest or something like that. So he's gone. He's leaving Legends. There has been a rumor that there's a funeral in the crossover, and I think that's been confirmed as well. So it does seem that Firestorm as a whole, or just at least Martin Stein, will be dying this year in the crossover. Now, one other thing to add, being in Australia, I know this because I follow them on Twitter and stuff like that, because I might go to it. Franz Drame, I don't know how to pronounce his last name, I'm sorry. I know I'm saying sorry because he's probably not watching this video, but I don't know how to pronounce his last name, but it's the guy that plays Jefferson Jackson, or Jax, on Legends. He's coming to Australia in early November. Now, they would still be filming the show then. He's coming down for a Supernova, which is like a convention, like pop culture convention and stuff like that. He's going to be in Australia for that. So that just really does even just suggest more that, like, Firestorm's gone off Legends. I don't know who's going to die. It could be Martin Stein, it could be Jax, it could be both. Firestorm could die at the same time. But one of them or both of them is going to die on Legends in the crossover, and the funeral's going to be in the last episode on the Legends episode. So it's a shame we're losing Firestorm. I guess the real big thing is, are we losing both of them? Are both of them going to die? Or is Martin Stein going to die? And say Jax goes away for a bit and then they find another partner for him to connect with. Because that was one of the big things with Martin Stein in The Flash Season 2, was Ronnie died, but then Martin started to have, like, you know, almost like withdrawal symptoms because he needed to fuse to, like, you know, whatever you want to call it, regulate, if you want to call it that. So they could have something like that where Jax goes away for a bit, and that's why he doesn't have to film for a certain amount of time, but then he has to come back in because he's losing it and starting to freak out, and he needs another Firestorm partner, and they could bring someone in, like it could be Martin Stein's daughter that they bring in, or something like that. Who knows what they're going to do? But yeah, it's unfortunate that Victor Garber is going to be going for the show, because I think he's a really great thing to have on Legends. I think he balances that team out really well, just having that older figure in the team. So it's going to be missed, but if he took the opportunity, maybe just wanted to get back into theatre, because I think that's what he started off with, then I understand, but it's still a shame to lose him. And I guess it'd be a shame to lose Jax as well, if they've got to cut both off from the show. And question 6, our second question from Legends of Tomorrow, comes from Wrath of Matt. And he asks, do you think making the Time Bureau is what will eventually become the Time Masters in some way? I did see a couple of people asking this. I don't know, I think the Time Bureau is just its own separate entity, its own separate organisation, because if it was Rip Hunter in the past that was creating the Time Bureau, then fair enough, but it's Rip Hunter after he was already a Time Master that's creating the Time Bureau. But even though it was created in the past though, so it's sort of confusing. I just think it's its own separate organisation. It could be like a stepping stone, so like maybe like the Time Masters were inspired by the Time Bureau, they could go down that route. I think for it, I don't think the Time Bureau is going to like evolve into the Time Masters. I think that the Time Masters are their own separate thing, and the Time Bureau are their own separate thing as well. So I'd have to say no to that. And finally, we're on to the Arrow questions, obviously 2 of them. The first one comes from Amar Hamadi, sorry if I've pronounced that wrong, and he asks, do you think Anatoly leaked the photo of Oliver in like the Green Arrow suit as we saw at the end of episode 1 of season 6? Honestly, it's a possibility. It is a possibility. If you didn't know, this season, Anatoly is going to be like the villain for Mayo Queen. So there's different characters have different villains. So Green Arrow, it's Richard Dragon. Mayo Queen, it's Anatoly. Felicity, it's most likely going to be someone like Caden James. Diggle, it could be someone. So there's going to be different villains for different characters. And it's a possibility that Anatoly leaked the photo, because really it stuffs up Oliver as Mayo Queen. Like, he's got to face all this drama. It faces all this drama. Like, it doesn't affect him too much as Green Arrow. It affects him, like, basically all as the Mayor. Like, it just makes his life even harder as Mayor, even if there's more issues coming up. So it could be Anatoly. Anatoly is appearing in episode 2, which is obviously an episode where Oliver's going to be dealing with that. So that he might reveal that he leaked the photo. We'll have to wait and see. Because we still don't know when that photo was taken. We don't know if it was, say, from last season or something, or it was like the day before and then it got posted. We don't know when that photo was taken, so I think that might explain a lot. It could be Caden James, who knows. I don't know when we're getting introduced to him, maybe like episode 3 or 4. I think we might be getting introduced to Caden James, or Michael Emerson's character, who I think we're like 99% sure is Caden James, even though they could chuck like a wrench in the works and it could be someone else. But come on, I think it should be Caden James. It'd be weird if it isn't. But yeah, I think if you have to put money on it, I think you'd have to put it on Anatoly. I think he's the most likely option out of any of the other people involved with the show at the moment, but it could be anyone, so we'll have to wait and see. And question 8 comes from Taylor Canales, and they ask what happened to Boomerang, Nyssa, Talia, etc. Like people like Artemis. Honestly, who knows? Like Boomerang most likely died at the end in the season 5 finale when Merlin blew himself up. Once again, we don't technically have confirmation that Merlin died either. So yeah, Nyssa walked off. They couldn't get Katrina Law to come back for the premiere. I think she was busy filming another show. So if you go watch the premiere for Arrow season 6, it's like a stunt double. You actually don't see her face. She just walks away. So it's someone that looks like her, but they didn't actually show her face. So I think Slade says that Nyssa, he says Ra's al Ghul's daughter went to the cage, which is like Artemis. So you would think it would be Nyssa, like, because Tali was like unconscious in the temple. So you think she would have died in there. One issue maybe with, I did say the Arrow finale, the Arrow premiere was, there was just a lot in there. It was very cluttered. And I know they wanted to resolve a lot so they can move on in episode 2, but they had 23 episodes. Like it would have been nice if they could just spend maybe the first episode was literally just like legit the fallout. Like we saw everything that happened to every single character. Like we saw the bodies of all these characters and stuff like that. Or like, at least they confirmed the deaths of them. Because it just causes unrest and it causes questions like this. Because I can't answer this. Like Artemis, she was in a cage. If she survived, then wow. Like how did she survive? Talia was in the temple. Like everyone in there seemed to have died. Like Black Siren almost died. But it was, I don't know what happened there. I don't know if she was like brought back to life or she just woke up all of a sudden. Yeah, it's just confusing. So hopefully that does get explained in the next couple of episodes. Boomerang's probably the only one where you go, yeah, he probably died when Malcolm Merlin blew up the landmine in the season 5 finale, but once again, they didn't confirm anything, so it's sort of difficult. But thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video. This one was just, there's a lot of questions there that I had to go deeper into. That last question with Arrow is just making my brain hurt a bit. But yeah, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed, it'd be awesome if you could leave a like. Yeah, as I said, leave questions on the review or the trailer breakdown for the specific shows, and I'll definitely, or hopefully, if they're good enough, obviously make the video for next week. I'll try and make the answers quicker, and maybe I can add more questions, like 3 from every show or something like that, and I'll try and get through them faster so the video isn't too long. But of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe, and I'll catch you later, guys. Goodbye.